Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to True Crime Time with Junebug. That's me, and I'm a bit nervous because I usually record when it's just me in the house, and Mr. Genesis is home today. So if I'm a bit quiet, that's why. Not that I'm ever super loud, but you get the point. But also, I don't know if it's really a true crime because I fell down this little slight rabbit hole when I did the Azaria Chamberlain case about the dingo getting your baby. And so this is again about another animal. So I don't know if it's like really a true crime, but if you view it in the context that if a person did what the animal did, they would be arrested. So in a way that makes it a true crime. And ignore the lights. It stays light outside here in Michigan until almost 9 p.m. right now. And I don't want to wait that long to film. So here we go. So today we are talking about Kelly Keene, and this happened August 26th in 1981. So honestly, similar time as the dingo incident. I'm just putting two and two together. Maybe that's why I fell down the rabbit hole to see, hello car, to see this case. And I always say the age of the victim in case things with children bother you, and unfortunately, Kelly was 3. So if you tune out due to that, totally fine, I get it. This takes place in Glendale, California, and this is a solved case, if you could truly call it a case. It's solved. So as I said, I learned about this when I was doing research for Azaria Chamberlain's case, the dingo case, and it took me to this. So it's gonna be similar in nature. I'm just gonna warn you now. So Kelly Lynn Keene was born July 25th of 1978 in Glendale, California, to Kathy and Robert Keene. I don't know if she had any siblings, just want to throw that out there. I didn't see anything really about her like upbringing or her like life. Granted, she only got to live to 3, so there wouldn't really be a ton to tell, but I think it was a normal, fine first 3 years of life, I think. On August 26, 1981, little Kelly was watching educational TV programs. I'm going to guess it was PBS or something like that. Her mom, Kathy, was doing daily chores around the house while Kelly's just kind of watching PBS, maybe playing with some toys in front of the TV. And I don't know what her dad, Robert, was doing at the time, but I believe he was home. And at some point in the morning or mid-afternoon, not quite sure the time, little Kelly, she got bored of PBS, or maybe they stopped showing kids stuff, who knows, and she decided to go outside. She obviously didn't tell her parents. She had just turned 3, but she figured out how to open the front door and she went outside, which is terrifying for parents, I think, at any circumstance. But she only made it to the driveway before encountering an urban coyote. Now, apparently urban coyotes are different. I live in Michigan. We just have the regulars here. Maybe some urban ones in Detroit, but I hadn't really heard of them. But apparently they live in metropolitans, like big cities. They tend to live a bit longer and get a bit bigger due to the fact that there's more food for them available, like trash people food in the city, and the fact that there's less predators. Apparently they're very populous, these urban coyotes, in Chicago and California, where this takes place. But almost at once, when Kelly was outside and she made it to the driveway, this urban coyote just snatched her. Like, it snatched her in its mouth and started to run. It started dragging her through the street, but thankfully her dad, Robert, again, I don't know what he was doing, but he was home, thankfully. He noticed fairly quickly and like took off after that coyote. He scared it away, chased it away, and then immediately took Kelly to the emergency room, which, thank goodness. So she was rushed into surgery right away when they got to the hospital, and she was in there for about 4 hours. I don't quite know what they were trying to do necessarily with the surgery, but she was in there for 4 hours before she unfortunately passed away. Her death was determined to be from the coyote. It was due to a broken neck and blood loss. So I'm guessing maybe the surgery was to like stop whatever was bleeding the most, maybe fix the neck. I'm not entirely sure, but unfortunately it didn't save her in time. And because of this, her death by coyote, which sounds horrible because it is, but it's just who would have thought? Like, you can't not watch your kids for 30 seconds before now you have to worry about your kids just going outside and getting attacked by a coyote. It's just, that's probably not even a fear they had. But it happened. But because of the situation, this gave little Kelly the title, quote unquote, of the only known fatal coyote attack on a child and the only known fatal coyote attack in the United States. In the United States on a human. Coyotes have killed other things, of course. And it's just, could you imagine your child is the one and only child ever killed by a coyote in the entire US? Maybe one of the only coyote fatalities in the world, at least documented. Maybe there were some like hundreds of years ago. But like, what are the chances? It's insane. This poor family. But now, it was a short case I covered, but let's get into the aftermath, which some of it might annoy you. Now, the local government, after Kelly's attack and death, unfortunately, developed the first serious urban coyote management, which I don't know if that meant they had other non-serious ones, but it was the first serious urban coyote management that they did. So for 80 days, so almost 3 months, leg hold trapping was legal. I don't know if they necessarily killed every coyote that was in the trap or if they moved them, but there was leg hold trapping was allowed. Also for those 80 days, shooting coyotes in the half-mile radius of where the attack was, fine, go for it, shoot them. So in that half-mile radius of the attack, 55 coyotes were trapped and shot. That's a lot. First I thought, I was like, almost 3 months, maybe that's not a ton. But we don't know if they necessarily killed all of them, if some got out of their traps because they will gnaw off their own legs or just wiggle their way out. And this is a half-mile radius. That's small. They got 55 coyotes in a half-mile radius in 3 months. That's a lot. Now, I also learned, according to the USDA and California State University, at least 35 other attacks in the state could have led to death if an adult had not intervened, like to a child. A child could have been fatally injured or severely injured if an adult had not intervened in a coyote attack. So that made it seem a bit more intense when I learned that fact, that these coyotes just seem to be doing whatever they want. So that's scary. Now we're jumping ahead of it, but in 2004, remember this happened in 1981, so this is 23 years later. 2 animal rights activists, one being, I don't know who she is, but former child actress Pam NOT. She's almost 70 now, I think, so I mean, very much ahead of my time. I mean, before my time. But was one of the animal rights activists that came to a council meeting to oppose a proposal to cull urban coyotes. Basically, get rid of some, or a chunk of them. So she, Pam, the former child actress, wore a shirt covered in fake blood to try to get her point across, which seems a bit intense. But they had the audacity, mainly Pam, to accuse Kelly's parents of actually killing their child, and that it actually wasn't the coyote's fault. I could almost see the argument and the fact that she could have been like a child abuse in a way, like they were just ignoring their child and that's why she got out and was attacked by that coyote. No, that's not the route she took. She took the route of saying the hospital covered up the fact that Kelly actually died from a ruptured spleen, which would have come from like blunt force trauma from her parents, and that there's like this conspiracy to cover it up, like the coyote like wasn't involved at all. See, I didn't see any evidence backing this up, and obviously this made people very angry, as well as poor Kelly's parents who were watching this live on television. Like, they didn't know obviously that this was going to happen. They were probably just watching to see the outcome of the proposal because it's obviously personal to them. And they're seeing these 2 activists accusing them of killing their own child. 23 years ago, might I add. It's not recent anymore. So, since they're seeing this live, they rush down to the council the council meeting, and they had to defend themselves, basically against the animal rights activists. There wasn't really anyone that seemed to truly believe that they actually killed their child, but they had to recount the whole story, basically live through it again, and show Kelly's death certificate to them, which said cause of death was mauled by a coyote. So seems legit to me. Apparently this did not seem to change the two activists' mind. They stood their ground. I think they left, but they firmly believe it was not the coyote. I read, because I tried to play devil's advocate. I'm like, maybe they were onto something. I didn't see any evidence for it, but I did find an article, which I may link below, which just made me angry. It was Pam's email back to a news article claiming, basically telling the truth, that Pam accused Kelly's parents of killing her. And Pam fired back in a very assholey way, giving like bullet point reasons of why they were the cause of their child's death, and saying that she has nothing to apologize for and everyone else is wrong. So I could see how she's not the most popular lady. And why would you do that for coyotes, of all animals? It's not like we're talking about like a singular endangered unicorn or something. They're coyotes. I mean, if they're killing children, obviously we need to get rid of some coyotes or move them. Like, I just don't see what their goal was. Well, their goal was to stop the thing getting passed, but it was just so assholey, if that's a way to put it. But luckily no one else seemed to believe them. If they did, I didn't really see it, or hopefully they just kept it to themselves. But a councilman who was there would later say, quote, "What the activists said was cruel and uninformed. Knowing the mother, it broke my heart that they would do that to her. I was considering stopping them," end quote. And you probably should have. I feel like you 100% should have. As soon as someone walks in covered in fake blood, maybe just escort them back out the door. Just my personal opinion, unless, again, it's Halloween, which it was not. But also, now jumping back to 1981, Kelly was obviously buried, and she was buried in Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Glendale, California. Then also, when I was doing research, I almost want to, I don't know if I should include the clip because it's a bit intense. I saw on Reddit, of all places, because I was trying to look up like what happened with her parents or her family after the attack. And minus dealing with the activist in 2004, I didn't see anything. I don't know what they've been up to, if they had more kids, they got divorced, remarried, if they stayed together. If they're alive, I have no idea. But also when I was trying to find out about them, I saw a video very unrelated on Reddit of like a 2-year-old girl getting attacked by a coyote. They were unloading their car, I think, or their minivan, and a coyote just like shuffled up and snatched their child. Tried to. The dad obviously scared it away, got the kid and brought it to mom inside. A lot of screaming. But it's just like, the ball's on these coyotes. So it does truly happen. I saw it with my eyes. And I do not think that's a doctored video. So I don't know if I'll show the clip, but I'll leave the link below if you are interested. Because I know obviously that could be a bit hard to watch. There's no like blood or anything that I see because it's like a camera on their house, like on their driveway. But it's proof that coyote attacks do in fact happen, unlike what the activists made people try to believe. So that's it. That's the case. Very short. I've talked more than I should have, but you know, that's nothing new. Don't know what I'm covering next. I don't think it has to do with an animal. So rest easy. But thank you for tuning in. And sorry the last one was so long. Bye guys.